How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Rocky Mountain EDC channel. Really excited to share a little overview and impressions video for you guys today on a new outdoors knife that I have acquired, and that is going to be the BPSknives Adventurer. Now, after getting this knife and doing what most of us do that are into knives, if you purchase a new knife, you start to look up stuff about it. Maybe you do that beforehand, maybe you do it after, right? Either way, you want to kind of get a little bit more information on it. And I bought this knife on Amazon for about $30, and I thought it looked like a pretty decent knife for some of the outdoor tasks that I would like to have a knife do. And after purchasing it and looking up some information about it, it seems as though this is a very well-known, very popular knife, and I had not heard anything about it until after I had purchased it. So really excited just to kind of share some of my first impressions and kind of just a brief overview of the BPSknives Adventurer. So keep in mind, I am going to eventually test this out in the field, see kind of how it holds up in the task that it was intended to use, but this is just going to be kind of my first glance impressions. So right off the bat, obviously we'll get into the knife. It did come in just the standard kind of cardboard box here with the BPSknives and the Made in Ukraine stamp, so that's really cool. We'll kind of talk about that being made in Ukraine. The knife did come with a protective little cardboard covering, so you didn't cut yourself when you pull it out. And it came with a QR code and some BPSknives advertising. And then what was kind of interesting is it came with this napkin, which is interesting. It's not a microfiber cloth, but it did come with this napkin with the BPSknives trademark and logo on there, so kind of interesting. I will say that the knife did come well oiled, so maybe the intent was that you can use this to kind of clean off some of that oil, but regardless, that's kind of what the knife came in. It came in really good shape, nothing was damaged, the box was in good condition, so it was shipped and packaged very well. So kind of get into the first thing, and that is going to be the sheath, and we'll talk about the knife in a little bit. But the sheath is very, very nice. This is a high quality sheath, given that I got this for about $30, and I think MSRP has it around $50-ish. So really good deal considering, this is a really budget friendly knife and kind of a bang for your buck, and getting a high quality sheath with that is definitely a bonus. So it's this really nice thick finished leather. I did add a little bit of mineral oil to the outside of the sheath just to kind of keep it in even better condition before I take it actually out and use it in the outdoors. So I did kind of add that if it does have a little bit of uneven or darkening tones to it, but really nice, super thick. It fits well for the knife, and the stitching is high quality. It does have two options for carry. You have a regular belt loop, and then you have this dangler, which is really nice because sometimes when using just the regular belt loops, this sits very tight up against your leg or body, which can be good if you need to draw your knife and have a little bit of a firmer hold to your belt or to your body. You can easily pull that knife out, but with that, it can be a little uncomfortable and a little awkward at times. So the dangler gives you a little bit more freedom to carry that as well. So really nice option. If you don't like the dangler, you can just move it down and then use the standard belt clip, and this isn't going to really do too much. There is not a drain hole, but I am going to eventually add a drain hole in there. You can just use an awl or any type of, honestly, you could probably use a screwdriver or anything to just kind of create a hole there. But yeah, the sheath is really nice, really good tight fit for the knife. This is not going anywhere. So that's really nice to see a good tight fit. I'm sure obviously it'll loosen up over time, but right out of the box, it's really good. And then we have this little loop here for the ferro rod, which is really nice that this came with that. Kind of the same wood material that is on the knife itself. So that's really cool that it comes with that. And this was a very nice, also tight fitting loop for the ferro rod. So this isn't going to go anywhere either. So yeah, really nice sheath, very simple, very minimalist design, and high quality. Now let's get into the knife itself. Again, this is the BPSknives Adventurer, and we have a really beautiful Scandi grind blade and satin finish for the knife blade itself, which is really nice. And I believe this is a true Scandi grind, meaning that from the start of this bevel, it goes all the way down to the edge, so there is no secondary edge on this, as far as BPSknives website has stated. So this is going to be very sharp. It's going to be really good. Biggest thing though with that is it can be a little bit more prone to chipping, or it can be a little harder to sharpen with a true Scandi grind. So we'll kind of see how that that fares with some use. But really nice. No inconsistencies in the edge when I first pulled it out, so really good. And this is also extremely sharp, which I'll show here in a little bit. Came out of the box hair popping sharp. Nice 90-degree spine, so you can use that ferro rod on here, and it actually throws really good sparks. And then for the handle, we have what I believe is maple wood, and then they did finish it with some type of oil or finishing to the wood to kind of keep it preserved. And what's really nice about this is the handle scales here, these wooden handle scales, you can actually take them off and replace them if you wanted to. So we have some Allen head screws here keeping this on. I did take these off because some other videos that I had seen online of this knife actually had some rusting underneath of the handle scales, just due to the transportation for sitting around. So I did kind of want to see if there was any rusting under there, and I did go ahead and oil the entire blade. I just used some Tough Glide, so it kind of creates a nice little thin layer on there, and there was no rusting, so it was in really good shape. They did a good job oiling it. So yeah, so I took those off. Very easy to take off and put on, which is really nice, because if you also break these, crack these, if they get damaged due to the weathering, you can replace those very easily, or create your own handle scales of any other type of material that you might like. So that's a really cool feature on this knife. You might notice there is just a small kind of bit of cordage here on the end in the lanyard hole. That did not come with the knife. Neither did the lanyard cord here on the ferro rod. I added that, just kind of testing around, seeing having a little bit of extra cordage if you did want to choke up. So I kind of added that small touch there to the knife. So yeah, so overall this is about 10 inches in length, and the blade length is about 5 inches. So you're getting about 5 inches of blade of cutting edge, and then roughly about 5 inches of the handle. So this is a really well balanced knife. If we actually look at the balancing of the blade itself, this is actually balanced almost perfectly where your index finger sits. So again, this isn't going to make it a super forward heavy knife, so not really going to be great for chopping, but it's also not going to be super handle heavy, where it can actually sometimes get a little harder to get that forward chopping. So it's a really well balanced knife for any outdoor task. This is going to not really hold you down or kind of tire you out in terms of holding and using it. It's going to be very well balanced. which is nice to see. And again, this is kind of a mixture bushcraft, outdoors camping style knife that you can use. So again, I'm sure that was intentional in the design, which is really cool. And they do offer a decent sharpening choil, which, you know, it'll get the job done with different passes. Now, I will be interested to kind of see how this does sharpen, if it really is that true zero Scandi grind, so completely down to the edge. So we'll kind of see how that fares. As far as the thickness, this is a decently thick blade all the way up to the tip. So it's going to hold up pretty well. You could do some batoning with this, so I am excited to kind of see how that fares. But again, thick enough to be strong, but also not super thick to where I think you could also use this for some really good slicing tasks as well. Obviously, Scandi grind, not really great for slicing, but still it's not overly thick, which also helps it keep a pretty decent weight as well. So I'll kind of show you a little bit of the cutting edge. Again, this came out of the box super sharp. Yeah, I mean, they made sure that before they shipped this out that it was ready to be used, and no nicks or damages in the blade itself. So really good, especially for getting this for $30. I mean, that is a great deal to have such good fit and finish right off of opening up the box. Now, again, with it being budget, there are some downsides. Okay, so there are going to be some small minor things that you might notice. So for me, one thing I noticed, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, but the handle scales are not completely flush. So there is some small inconsistencies where this does kind of lift up a little bit, creating kind of a sharp spot or hot spot. So that's just that's something you expect with a budget knife like this. You can easily grind those down, sand those down, no problem at all. But yeah, so other than that small gripe, this is a really, really good steel and budget option if you're looking for an outdoors knife. Now, the reason I was really kind of looking in the market for a better outdoors knife is because currently my Mora 511 Basic is my current kind of outdoors hiking backpacking knife. So that's kind of currently what I'm using, and it's great. It's going to do most of the tasks I need, but I wanted something just a little bit more robust for if the opportunity arised where I needed something a little bit more robust than the Mora 511. So the steel on this is a 1066 high carbon steel, and they actually do have it stamped on the blade. So they have a 1066, which is going to be very similar to 1095. It's going to obviously have a little less carbon content in it than the 1095, which is going to make this a little less brittle, and it's going to be a little tougher. So this is going to handle abuse a little better, but with not being as hard, it's not going to hold an edge as long. So kind of a trade-off. Personally, I will take toughness on an outdoor knife like this. I'll take toughness over edge retention any day. If I'm going to be needing a knife for very fine cutting tasks like a kitchen knife or an EDC knife, I'll obviously want a little bit more edge retention rather than toughness. So kind of a nice different type of steel on there, still high carbon. I think it's going to be really good and it's going to perform well. We'll kind of see how that goes though with testing. So last thing, we'll kind of show how well it throws sparks. Obviously with the ferro rod, you need to get some of that little paint finish off, but it does throw sparks pretty well with that nice 90-degree spine. So yeah, that is the BPSknives Adventurer. Stay tuned for a long-term review video of the knife to kind of see what I think about it. Again, this is just an overview and impressions. And thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the Rocky Mountain EDC channel. Thanks.